Hey everybody, welcome to the Morphin Grid. I'm Josh.
And I'm Jake.
And this is episode 12. We're going to be watching Power Rangers punks. Power Ranger punks.
Power Rangers.
Punker Rangers.
Power Rangers. The punks.
Power Rangers : punks.
This can be one of two episodes. We're not sure which one. I'm excited regardless, because those are two of my favorite episodes. It aired September 20th, 1993. That's all we know about it thus far. Because, again, I don't know which one it is.
I mean, we know more about it. We're just not sure which one this is.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about either one in case it's the wrong one. I don't want to look like a fool in front of the whole internet.
I think it's the one where Billy and Kimberly are punks.
I mean, maybe. But
I think it's... If my voice is a little weird, it's because I'm tired. I woke up early this morning.
How early?
8. Well, before 8. Because I had to...
Take session to work. I was up at 7:30, around then. Because today's my day off, so I slept in until 7:30. Because that's how sad my old man life is.
Did you go to bed at like 8?
I went to bed at like 11:30-ish. I don't know. The other day I went to bed at 10. I was like, it's 10 o'clock and I'm tired. I don't care. And I went to bed. And I woke up before my alarm went off at 5:30. And I was like, oh, God, I need to get a new life. I need to send in for a better one. That's not the point of this podcast.
Whoa.
This got heavy. This is what happens when we record early, I guess. So if you're new to the podcast, what we do is we pause the recording. We go watch the episode of Power Rangers that the episode pertains to, and then we come back and we talk about it. And you can follow along if you have the DVDs or if you have Netflix. You know, I assume since you're a human being listening to this, you probably have Netflix. So, and if you don't, it's like $10 a month, guys. Less than.
Come on.
You get all the Power Rangers you want.
All the Power Rangers is on there.
Literally all there is up to now.
Up to right now.
Is on there. So, like, that's a pretty good deal. Josh and I are watching it on the DVD.
Until we run out of those.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure I'm getting seasons 8 through 12 for my birthday.
What if you get 13 through 17?
That's fine.
So you just have this gap.
Then I'll fill the gap with my tax return.
It's a good call. That might be what mine goes to. Welcome to Tax Return, the podcast. So anyway,
we gotta go watch this episode.
We're gonna watch the episode. I'm excited. I also got some cream cheese I'm gonna eat while we watch it.
Grown-ups, man.
Grown-ups. Being an adult is both awesome and terrifying. So anyway, it's Morphin time! Hey everybody, we're back. We just watched Power Ranger punks.
Power Rangers punks.
All of them. Only two of them.
Only two of them.
It was the episode where Billy and Kimberly get turned into punks. How? We'll tell you about in just a minute. Before then, though, here are the places that you can find us on the internet. Our website is morphingrid.tumblr.com. You can email us, littleidiots.morphingrid@gmail.com, or you can tweet us, tweet at us, tweet with us, however you feel like tweeting.
With or about, that's not going to come through very well.
That'll be good enough. Anyway, that's Twitter. We're at Morphin Grid. Those are all the places you can find the Morphin Grid, the podcast, on the internet. Josh put a sweater on because it's kind of chilly in his house.
Yeah, give me a sec. If we leave the heat on, then we get terrible heat kicking on noises.
This is what it is. This is what we deal with.
Plus, the whole window vibrates when the heat's on, and all of the glass stuff in there.
Yeah,
makes
everything in
noises.
there, which is glass in some way, has different resonant frequencies, and it's a mess. Anyway, let's jump into the episode, shall we?
Head first, feet first.
Feet first.
All right, play it safe.
Yeah. So they're playing volleyball, not at the beach.
In the volleyball court in Angel Grove Park.
Yep, it's like a 25 by 25 square sand pit with a volleyball net, and it's 2-on-2. It's Billy and Zach versus Trini and Jason. And then Billy gets skunked, I guess. And
Well, Trini and Jason are cleaning house.
Are destroying.
They're the volleyball king and queen.
yes.
So Kimberly comes with drinks. I thought she said, "Hey guys, I got things," but she said, "I got
She
drinks."
said I got drinks.
Because then Billy walks over, and I could have sworn he said, "Those things look great." So I almost took a note, but then I realized he said drinks, so I didn't take any notes again.
You just have one note. Things? Question mark?
Things are great.
So he takes a drink, switches out with Kimberly, and we're going to jump right in to our first segment. What was Kimberly wearing?
Ooh, this is a three-parter.
So this is a three-parter. All three parts are pretty great. So part one, she's wearing jeans and her Doc Martens to play volleyball in. Obviously.
Right.
And she's got like a pink tank top on and like a cotton vest.
It is just like a white cotton vest.
Yeah, it looks like, I feel like...
It's like a button-up sweater vest.
Yeah, it looks
it's
like
unbuttoned.
a really thin sweater, but just a vest, and it buttons. That's part one. There are two more parts, and they're both pretty amazing. So
We got a little bit of Trilly Watch, but that's not till like the
that's
end.
that's a little bit later.
Well, I got some for the end, so we'll just do it at the end, and we'll backtrack after instead of having to...
Because I have one in the middle, but yeah. So they're playing. We cut back to, or cut up to, because we haven't gone there yet. So we cut up to the moon, where Babu has this huge, like, science potion set up, specifically to make this one potion that turns the Power Rangers into punks. It's called the Punk Potion, obviously.
Duh.
And so he's like, some spider legs, rattlesnake lips, poison ivy,
Snail slime.
Because
the ingredients match the footage.
yes,
Because there is like a snail
There
and
was a
like
spider,
a leaf.
yeah.
And yeah.
And the only thing I really took away from that is he had this like metal sort of funnel with what looked like minced onion, like dried minced onion, and he poured some sort of green liquid, and then that filtered down through the minced onion into the rest of the potion. And as far as like weird potion making stuff goes, because I've been reading a lot of Harry Potter lately,
Right.
like that's neat.
Yeah.
Where it's like, you need to drain the potion over this stuff, whatever it is. I like things like that in shows where there's sort of an internal logic to it that like we don't necessarily know because we don't know the ins and outs of potion making
Right.
in the Super Sentai / Power Rangers universe. But then it cuts down and Jason and Trini like kill Zach and Kim in volleyball. They just destroy them. And then they're like, who wants to go? Jason's like, who are we gonna face next?
So he's like, who are we gonna face next?
And I said, calm down, bro. There's only 3 other people here. The only other combination would be Billy and Kimberly. But it doesn't matter. They don't get to face anybody because the putties come down. And these putties are exclusively there to be a distraction, which is a great use of putty.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned. Like, that is a great way to use the putties. Is like, oh, I gotta...
Right.
Because he's on... Because Babu is on the penny farthing. On Rita's penny farthing.
And he does not have the calf muscles for
No,
that.
because he's like, I wish this was motorized. And so he,
Because
like...
Rita's legs are jacked.
Probably. I mean, you know, they have to be really jacked because they atrophied for 10,000 years in a dumpster on an asteroid.
He spent 10,000 years doing squats.
Like, maybe.
Because, as we find out later, they shrink down to fit into the dumpster.
Yes. That's true. I forgot about that. There's a giant can opener. Great stuff. So...
Yeah.
So he, like, Babu has this, like, potion vial with, like, an eyedropper in it, and he, like, drips from 1,500 feet in the air. He just drips the things right into their drinks.
Let's go back to the putties for a minute, because this is the worst fight scene we've seen so far.
Oh, God, yes. That's my next note. Is this fight scene was directed by whoever directed the Jason Bourne movies, because there's just a lot of really weird, frantic
It's
cuts.
just a shaky in and out camera that you can't really see anything happening because the camera doesn't know what it's supposed to be looking at. It's
it cuts
weird.
like between hits and stuff. It's really weird.
I didn't like it. I had to
like
look away because it was hurting me to
Made
watch.
you nauseous?
Like,
it was really weird. But the putty distraction works,
which is great because if it didn't, the Power Rangers would have saw their drinks turn blood red before they turned back into clear,
foaming,
and they're like bubbling,
foaming like rabid dogs' mouths, and then just turned right back to normal.
That's regular water. It just takes a minute to mix in.
Can I just say how weird it is that Kimberly brought them water in these tiny little whiskey glasses? That's
weird.
It's a little weird. Like, they should be either like taller plastic cups.
First of all, they're at the park.
Yeah, so she brought these glasses from home
and poured.
They're in the picnic basket in Trini's car.
Water for everybody.
Well,
because it's not even a full glass. It's like
a tumbler. It's like like a Scotch glass.
Well, she doesn't say I brought water. She says I brought drinks.
So what is it? Vodka?
It might be.
No, they're good kids.
Are they?
For the next couple minutes, anyway. And so after they fight, Trini and Kimberly go get a drink because they are thirsty after all those weird cuts.
Did you say Billy and Kimberly?
I might have said Trini.
I think you said Trini and Kimberly. It was Billy and Kimberly.
I would have loved a Punk Trini and Punk Kimberly would be the greatest thing ever. But instead, we got Punk Billy, who's really weird.
Who's definitely a better nerd than a punk.
Absolutely. We'll get to that in a couple minutes. But they drink, and because they've been turned into like blood foam potions with poison ivy and rattlesnake lips in them and onion. They are disgusting.
Gross.
So like Billy takes a drink, Kimberly like throws her glass, and Billy just like slams the rest of them off the table because he's like, it just knocks the other ones off. Which, number one, is a good way to show how gross these drinks are, and number two is a good way to show that
that's why the other
Rangers
is
why there's only two punks this episode.
So all that grass is punks. It's punk grass. or evil grass, because at one point he just said it's going to make you guys be bad.
Yeah, turn you bad. And then Zordon says the same thing. Turn them from bad to good. Or from good to bad.
If they were bad before, man.
Oh, Trini is like, whoa, what's wrong, you guys? Why did that happen? And they're like, get away from me!
Well, first, there's the three of them are still playing volleyball, or still over by the volleyball net.
They were just catching their breath.
Okay,
I'll say.
Then Kimberly makes this face looking at them from afar. I can't do it, but it was just like, oh, those guys,
those dorks.
And it was the best worst face.
There's a lot of best worst things about this episode. So the three others come over and they're like, what's going on? What happened? Why are you making all these weird faces at us? And Kevin's like, get your hands off of me. We don't want to hang out with you dorks. And then Billy's like, yeah, you're dorks. It's really bad. It's really...
That was a very accurate description.
I like to think so. But I like that they're punks, but this is like the Fox Kids Saturday morning version of what punks are, because like if they turn into the same punks that like I went to school with, like number one, they wouldn't be this like weird. They'd be like jerks, like much bigger. Well, not all of them. Some of the kids I went to that were punks were jerks. Others were just pretty cool dudes who had mohawks,
right,
and wore tight tartan pants.
And Doc Martens.
Doc Martens. One of them was a great dancer. His name's Scott Parent. He was awesome.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'm the worst dancer.
I'm probably the second worst. I'm probably a close second. So anyway, we go back up to... Trini says, I think they got too much sun. Because she's trying to defend them.
Right.
She's trying to... She's like, maybe they're just... I don't know. I mean, because to be fair, this has never happened before. Where like... they're not like, oh, I bet Rita sabotaged us somehow.
Right, yeah.
They're probably like, this is weird, but like, I don't know what happened. So we cut back up to the moon, and Rita says, first of all, Babu's like, oh, you probably want to give me a planet or an asteroid of my own, just to thank me for doing this great thing. Which, this is a weird plan, Babu. Like, if it would have turned all of them to punks, that would have been a much different way to go. Because, and we'll get to it later, how it still could have been solved, like, exactly the same way, pretty much. But,
Right.
but like, if all 5 of them turned into punks that could morph, that would be a neat episode.
That would be.
They would probably knock Angel Grove over, but... So Rita's like, she just like kind of dismisses Babu. She's like, yeah, whatever, good job, whatever. You didn't screw this up yet. And then she's like, Finster, get me a monster! Because she wants to capitalize on Power Rangers being distracted by, two of their friends being punks. And the mouth match on Monster was awesome. It was like, I don't know if Bandora said monster.
Right.
And so they're just like, oh, perfect. Or what? But like, Barbara Goodson nailed that one. We go back down to Earth. And it's the next day, I assume, because everyone's wearing different clothes. Obviously, they wouldn't have played volleyball before
It's
school.
definitely the next day.
So,
I'm pretty sure they even say, like,
oh, yesterday was kind of weird.
Yeah.
We haven't seen them yet. And they're just like at their locker, like getting their stuff, their lockers, which are conveniently next to each other, despite all of their last names being in pretty different
way
places.
Different.
I mean, Taylor and Scott are close to each other, so like Jason and Zach, and maybe that's how they became friends. They had to sit next to each other in kindergarten.
Quan is on the other side of the hallway.
Yeah,
Like...
Quan is and like depending on homeroom. Like I don't know how you did it at your school, but like
I don't really either.
We had like every teacher had a homeroom, and it was like every time a new class came in, like a section got like like a section of the alphabet of that class got it. So like mine was like L through M, so like late M's, or maybe the early M's. I don't really remember, but like then another classroom would have like the A through the first couple C's, like just to fill out however many seniors left. Like that's how many freshmen you brought in. Like that's just how it rotated. But like if they're all in the same classroom, maybe there's just like it's just some sort of random like, oh, you're assigned to this one. You're in Miss Appleby's homeroom. So that all your lockers are near each other.
Or maybe you just get to pick one.
Maybe
because they were friends before they were Power Rangers.
Right.
So maybe they were just like, oh hey. These 5 lockers are open.
Let's get these ones.
Maybe
that's it.
Because Bulk and Skull are right next to each other, too.
But they've had theirs since like '86.
Because there's Farkas Bulkmeyer and Eugene Skullovich. So alphabetically, they're nowhere near each other. Farkas.
Farkas is a great name. We don't actually learn his name for another couple episodes.
I think the first time we hear their real names is Miss Appleby. Like, I think she said it
with the flea circus?
Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah, you're right. Okay. Farkas Bulkmeyer. Good name, dude. Anyway, their lockers get no use because Skull has a book covered in dust.
And a skull.
And like the rest of his locker is like 100% empty. Like it looks darker in there. Like it looks like his locker is a basement. And then Bulk can't get his open because it's packed full of stuff, and he finally opens it, and like a
lot of popcorn,
15 pounds of food falls out of here.
Mostly it's popcorn. There's a pineapple.
There's some burgers, a hot dog. All look relatively fresh because it's fake food, but like it's real within the terms.
And then
of
like
a snake,
a foam snake, or a plush snake.
There's a sausage link that comes down. And then the Rangers are like, look at these idiots with their terrible lockers. And then this is when Kimberly and Billy show back up.
Oh yeah.
And they are punks.
They're so punks.
And they're not really And I mean, I was 4 in 1993. I don't know what the punk scene was like back then. But they seem more like bikers than punks. Whatever.
Let's see, if you were 4, I was, 7? So I was very well versed in how punks were.
Obviously.
No, when I was 7, they looked like punks.
Yeah. Yep, definitely punks to me. So, we're not going to do... This is where I have Trilly watch. But we'll do it later.
This is the other... Yeah, but it's a one quick thing.
It's like a literally, 2 words. So we're just going to do what is Kimberly wearing? Part 2. Everyone sit down. Sit down? Good. Kimberly is wearing a spike choker. Very punk.
The punkest.
And then this is where the show goes, hey, maybe kids maybe 15-year-olds are watching this too.
Right.
Let's just give them something. Just real quick. Let's just give them something to look at. Because she's wearing pink fishnets, spike heel boots, and this one-piece strapless... It's not a dress because it's got legs.
It's like a unitard.
It's like a unitard, but I don't know what to call it because I don't either. It's a one-piece outfit thing, but it's strapless. It's bright pink.
Definitely spandex because it's skin tight.
Yes, and a leather jacket over all.
And her hair teased out, as
all
far as it will go.
Oh man, you guys! If I was a punk in the mid-90s, early to mid-90s, I would have died the same amount that I do later in the episode, which we might not even go over that one, but...
Well, you got to mention it because she's wearing something different.
Yeah, that's true. That's the rules. Stay tuned. So, they go up to Skull and...
In bulk.
I was just looking to see if I wrote something down.
Right, because this made me laugh, this piece of show, this segment.
Yes, because she goes up to Skull and she's like, oh, hey, handsome, you look like my kind of man. And then she's like, let's tear up the town. Which is just them go as far with it as you can.
The whole time that she's wooing Skull, Billy is just staring at Bulk with his arms crossed, and Bulk's just like, what's going on?
What's up, buddy?
What happened?
So she is really aggressive in trying to get Skull to go out with her, and he's like, well, yeah, okay. And then
is this foreshadowing?
Let's talk about it now, because this is the perfect. There's one other episode, but that's way later.
And that one is foreshadowing.
That one is oh, hey, this is what the future might look like. But there is a popular fan theory, because it's been confirmed by somebody who works on the show, but I don't know if it was a head writer of any given thing, or if it was what they thought was happened later. So in 100 episodes, Kimberly leaves the Power Rangers. I know. I was heartbroken, but we got Kat, so that's cool. Everyone leaves the Power Rangers eventually,
right?
That's how Power Rangers works after a while. Yeah. Is that they just start kind of cycle them out, and then eventually it's just every season pretty much is a new set of Power Rangers. And they'll do a crossover with the last one. But anyway, in season 3, Kimberly leaves because she wants to do more with her life. She wants to be a gymnast. She wants to go to the Pan American Games.
It's basically the Olympics for America.
Yeah.
Or does Pan American mean outside all of Americas? I don't know.
Well, Pan means across usually.
All right.
So maybe it's all Americas. I don't know. But she sends Tommy a letter because they're still dating. She sends Tommy a letter breaking up with him, saying that she's found another guy. Now, this other guy I don't think is Skull.
No, because in the letter it sounds like the other guy is down in Florida. I think she's in Florida.
Yeah. So
and Skull is
still in California.
He's still in California. So.
But from there, there's like a lot of like tiny little clues, and in Samurai there's like kind of a big one.
Yeah.
That Kimberly and Skull eventually end up married.
Yeah.
To each other, obviously. And so, like, with that in mind, whenever I see them interacting, I'm like, is there... Because there's definitely chemistry.
Right.
Like, even when she's, like, brainwashed or under a spell or a punk or whatever, there's, like, you know, there's still...
When she was a punk, she went right to Skull.
Yeah, like, and later on...
She could have aggressively pursued any boy in the school.
Yeah.
But Skull is her kind of man.
But it was Skull. And so, like... how do you feel? Do you think that...
Yes.
Do you think that's what happens? I like it because I think Kat's a lot better for Tommy than Kimberly ever was. But we don't need to talk about that. That's like
right.
Not deep stuff, but that's later stuff. So we'll get back to it, you know, in 100 episodes.
Yeah, Kat doesn't even show up till like the end of season 3.
Middle of season 3.
Yeah,
because season 3,
she's only the Pink Ranger for a little bit, and then they jump into Zeo. So
yeah, she shows up in the middle, but she's not a Ranger till like basically the end, until the episode A Different Shade of Pink, part 3, I think. Anyway, so Billy threatens Bulk. I don't remember why. He's just like, you're not the toughest guy anymore.
Yeah, I don't
so
remember
back
what kicked
up.
that
And he, like
off.
throws him, and Bulk's like, hey, I'm gonna punch you in the face or whatever, and Billy grabs him by the collars and like lifts him up
and puts him on the lockers.
And he's like, "No, I'm the head cheese or whatever. Got it?" And Bulk's like, "Got it." And then he grabs then it goes back to the command center where Alpha's like, "Oh crap, Zordon!"
Because he's watching it on the viewing
he's watching
globe.
because they don't have cable.
They're just watching the Power Rangers.
And he's like, "Oh no, they're punks." And then we just see on the viewing globe, Bulk grabs Skull and as he's kind of flirting with Kimberly, just drags Skull away.
Yeah.
And he literally doesn't move his feet. He just slides on some of the junk that fell out of Bulk's locker. Which I guess the Power Rangers will be expected to clean up once school is over.
They are the custodial staff, as we have established in earlier episodes.
Oh, Lord. So then they're like, teleport the Rangers here and put Billy and Kimberly in a transparent cage made of Kinoflow lights. So
it was a transparent force field.
Right,
the
force
cage
field
itself is obviously parent.
Yes. It is not transparent.
It is transparent.
Parent. I like that. So he's like, "Oh, the only way to get rid of this potion is to get the singing squash, which is a flower and not a squash."
With a giant root.
Yeah.
Are squashes roots?
They grow above ground.
They grow above ground?
Yeah.
Well, singing squash is a alliteration.
There's gotta be a flower that starts with S, though.
Singing sequoia.
That's a tree. Singing sunflower.
It's definitely not a sunflower.
It's definitely not a squash either, though.
Look, I don't know. It's in a trans-dimensional gap. So maybe it's that dimension's version of squash.
Maybe. All right, I'll accept your terms. So we get some Barda footage. Barda is Zordon's counterpart in Super Sentai. He's not Super Sentai. Oddly enough, does not have a giant head in a tube. It's got an old wizard elf man who can grow his ears to hear things, and looks a little bit like a Dragon Ball Z character.
Sort of.
And so it's like, this is when I had to go get it 1,000,000 years ago for whatever reason. And so he pulls it out, pulls the squash out of the ground. This is all in the viewing globe, which the command center's infinity cameras that follow everyone important around, which just caught this on tape, I guess. And so it shows him pulling the squash out of the ground, and it screeches, and all the putties are like, "Oh man," and then they die. and they're like, "Now you need to go get that too." But first, the Terror Toad is mucking about.
Right, Rita's taking advantage of the situation.
Yeah.
And attacking with Terror Toad.
Oh man. So they're like, "All right, it's Morphin time." But also, before we do Morphin time, I just want to say that Zach is wearing that Africa necklace I mentioned
he is
6 or 7 episodes
it's
ago.
It's the shape of Africa with the Africa flag on it.
Yeah, Like, not like the flag isn't like on it, but like
It is
Africa is those colors in that pattern.
All right, so before we jump into the fight, let's just talk about Billy and Kim in the cage.
Oh, and then
trash talking,
chewing on the scenery as hard as they can.
Because at some point, Kimberly's like, "When we get out of here,
we're gonna kick
your butts," and then Billy's just like, "Yeah."
Well, she says buns.
She says buns
because this is a kids show, and they can't. Like, if they were real punks, they'd be swearing up a storm.
Oh, yeah.
They would be like, yeah, it would be much different, but they can't do that because it's on Fox Kids. So they're like trash talking them, but like
Billy is kind of the Skull to
yes,
Kim's
I noticed
bulk.
that. That's why Kim's attracted to Skull, because
she needs a lackey.
She needs a subordinate, you know. She's also attracted to Skull in some way. And eventually, Skull gets his entire act together.
Yes.
By the way, you don't know what happens in Lost Galaxy.
I don't.
But there's a weird thing that happens in Lost Galaxy. The whole series is a weird thing that happens in Lost Galaxy. But it ends up with Skull, like, not there anymore.
Right.
And, like, because of that, he gets pretty successful, I guess. I don't know. But anyway.
Or he's just riding all that Pan American Games money.
Maybe. Anyway, so Terror Toad is fighting Zach, Jason, and Trini, and they are like they're struggling with it because
they're having a hard time.
There's not enough of them. It's a powerful monster,
right?
But he has this really neat attack where he like has this lightning tongue that grabs you and then absorbs you.
Yeah. But instead of that, he also
later on
can just
he
use
can
his
just
regular
eat
tongue.
You. Yeah,
eat you alive.
But he needs his horn for that, and later gets knocked off. Spoilers: the good guys win again. So then we go back to the command center, and like this is the only note I have for this part. I actually have two. Turns out. Kimberly and Billy are still trash talking them. They're like, "Get you stupid geekoid!" Like they're calling like Zordon a big green head,
even though he's in like a bluish gray tube.
So like maybe they're just like he's gonna be green when they're filming it. They're like he's gonna be a big green head. Imagine a big green head.
Or they just showed them concept art,
right.
And he was green in that.
Yeah, and then they made a game day decision to make him blue.
Right.
But they'd already filmed the episodes and like whatever, no one cares. No one's gonna notice.
Or the color is just really off.
Maybe. Could be anything.
If he's green on your TV, listeners,
email us.
Let us know.
Yeah.
Because he's not on mine.
Or mine.
Or any of the TVs I've ever watched this on.
I don't know what it is. It's a mystery unto us all.
Yeah.
We'll call Tony Oliver. We'll get him on the podcast. And then we'll be like, hey, the heck, man?
He'll be like, yeah, no, I know.
He's like, I got nothing. So Kimberly also has nail polish, and she's still doing her nails. In the cage.
Right, I don't remember what Billy was doing, but
chewing gum like a cow.
Zordon's basically like, because at this point I think Trini and Zach have been eaten.
Yes.
So Zordon's like, Jason's pretty much on his own because these two are useless right now.
Screwed. He's like, Alpha, you need to go get the sing squash.
Right.
And he sends Alpha to the worst possible location match. It's on a studio.
With a trash bag floor.
The floor is trash bags, and there's like a little mound of dirt with the squash in it. And the squash looks the same, so, good for you.
Right.
On that. But, like, it is just a bad... And, I mean, I understand they couldn't fly to Japan,
Yeah.
They didn't... In California, there's a lot of places, like, a lot of places look like a lot of places, but, like, there's no swamps in Los Angeles.
Right.
I lived there. There's none. There's barely any trees. It's basically a dried up desert of a city. Burbank is pretty nice though, if you are in the area. So then we go. Alpha comes back and he's like, I guess off. He makes the potion really quickly. Maybe it's just like
he has to extract the sap from the singing.
Oh right, just
squash.
Drip
the
that
singing
in some water.
Squash sap.
The SSS.
Drop it in some water. Makes it green.
Makes it green. and then he puts his hands through the force field. And he's a robot, so the force field doesn't do anything to him.
He's just standing there like nothing.
And like there's still like the
we gotta go back
lines.
to when he gets the squash.
Okay.
Because there's putties there.
Yeah.
And he just zaps them with his head.
Yeah, well, that's his defense mechanism.
Because he doesn't lift his feet all the way up, so he generates all this static on the trash bags, right?
Yeah.
And he gets over to the squash, and the putties touch him and get zapped. And then he pulls the squash out and like waves it at them, and then they die.
And it's
from
screaming,
the
and he's
squash.
got robot ears, so it doesn't affect him.
Right.
Because he doesn't process audio the same way we do.
And apparently, the singing squash can run out of breath because cut to the command center, and it's just laying on the computer console.
It's just tired. Screams the whole way back from the dimensional gap, and now it's like, oh, whatever.
So he makes the antidote.
He makes the antidote. They drink
anti-punk
it, and they like drop
potion.
their cups. And like for whatever reason, the way they drop their cups is one of those weird Power Ranger memories that's just been in my head since I watched it when I was 4.
I remember this episode because I remember when Terratoad eats them, their faces are on his stomach.
Yeah, on his stomach. I remember that, but like the act of them dropping the cup and the noise it makes is just something that's in my head. Just like. It's like one of those things where it's like, oh, I have that memory ready to go. Like,
right.
You know, it's weird how some things will stick with you in weird ways like that. And that's one of mine. There's a lot of them in Power Rangers.
We'll probably hear about all of them.
Most likely. I think I've already talked about one.
You have.
I don't remember what it was.
I don't either, but
it's yeah.
recorded forever.
So, you know, you might remember. I don't know. So, they show up and they, like... slash the horn off Terratoad. Like immediately. They're like, let's get to the chase. And then he uses his regular tongue.
Zordon tells them how to beat him. He's like, you gotta take his horn off and then hit the weak spot below his neck.
Right, which is like a demon face.
Yeah.
On his like goozle.
On his neck flaps.
Yeah.
Underneath his third, fourth chin.
And so then he just spits his regular tongue out and drags Jason into his mouth. And like I absolutely love the just Jason and Billy in a minute, just like legs up in the air, slowly falling down the gullet of Terratoad.
He grabs him with their tongue,
head a little
and
bit.
they land the head head and chest for Jason. I think are all in there, and he just chomps him a little bit. Cuts to the other Rangers going no. Cuts back to Jason's feet kicking as he goes down
in the air trying to get out of there.
Terratoad's throat.
And then I wrote down foreshadowing. But I don't know why.
Oh, because Kimberly and Billy are standing this way, with Kimberly on the left and Billy on the right, and Billy's like, "We need to transpose our locations or whatever." I don't know, some geek speak.
Some Billy speak.
So Kim's like, "You mean switch places?"
Okay, that's
he's like,
right.
"Yes," and then they switch,
and Billy gets eaten.
And Billy gets eaten because he's like, "I can get his neck," and then he gets eaten instead.
But Kimberly has a bow, so she shoots like 3 arrows into this thing's neck.
The foreshadowing is for a future episode where they swap personalities.
Episode 16, switching. They don't switch personalities; they switch brains. Their entire minds.
You're
switch.
right.
And that's my favorite episode of Power Rangers. Oh, that's gonna be a good one. So anyway, Kimberly is like, "Oh, you ate my friends. That's it. Done with you now." And so she shoots her bow. She shoots 3 arrows into this thing's neck.
Well, first Babu hip checks her.
Oh, right. I forgot that they showed up.
Because she's like, "I'm going to get you." And she takes her bow out. And Babu's like, "Nope." Just shoves her down. And then they trash talk her a little bit. Because, Terratoad's like, "I'm going to get some dessert." And Babu's like, "You're not going to win." And then smash cut to Kimberly shooting him in the face.
Just boom. 3 right in the neck. Right in the demon gaping face power source weak spot thing. Anyway.
His neck face.
So then he spits out these 4 colorful orbs, conveniently color-coded to be the Power Rangers.
His axe is purple.
His axe is purple because a black orb I don't think would look as good, but a purple orb is close enough. It's dark too.
Right.
So, they're like, "Oh, what happened?" And I like the way that it kind of spits them out, and then they just appear, and Trini falls down in the woods. And they then jump back into formation, and Kimberly's in the center, and I really like that.
Yeah,
I like that she's in charge now. Like
This
for
is
the
her
next
fight.
for the next couple minutes, she's in charge. So then there's no Megazord because they kill it.
They just kill it.
They just kill it. Do they use the power cannon?
Nope.
No.
No, they each attack with their weapons.
In the weak spot, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And then Kimberly shoots an arrow into its mouth, and it blows up.
And it blows up. And then Babu runs away and like trips, and then
he falls, which I would like to think was not planned.
It was not in the script. I don't think so.
But he just slipped, and they were like, "That's good because this character's a dummy." So
right. Yeah. So then we're gonna cut back to
that was also Babu running away was also sped up for comedic effect.
Right. So he fell really fast and got up really fast, embarrassed. So then we go back to the juice bar where Kimberly
is teaching Trini gymnastics.
Teaching Trini gymnastics. And I can't talk about this in a clean way, so I'm just gonna not, but dang, son.
What is she wearing?
She is wearing a it's a little fussy because she has a denim vest. It's like a shirt that you took the sleeves off of.
Right.
But it's denim and it's tied off. And
Yep.
she is wearing the crap out of it. She's got her pink scrunchie and some bangs going on. And then I don't know if her entire leotard is this way or if she's wearing leggings under it. Because she's got like pink leggings and like a purple leotard bottom. But like I don't think we saw the top because of the denim.
It's like a darker pink.
So it's maybe
Because
this is
it's
all
like
one
one piece
thing.
that comes down through the groin area.
Right, and then her
Yeah.
and she is in shape. That's all I'm gonna say. And so is Trini, because then Trini does a handstand into a tumble, which is really neat. It's super basic, and I'm sure like every 5-year-old in gymnastics learns that first. But like as someone who is just like a clod, and like
Trini's also spotted by Kimberly.
Yeah,
because Trini is not a gymnast.
Right, but she's learning.
She just poses martial arts like.
Yes, wow, I did it. Bulk and Skull come in, and Skull is wearing like a punk version of a tux. He's dressed up, but he's still got camo pants and his boots on. He's got a monocle.
This is where Trilly Watch is coming up.
Okay, because my entire note is poor Skull. Because he has this date that he got all ready for, and he's super amped. And now the girl who asked him on this date's like, ew, loser, no, gross.
Well, before that, because like he sweeps her down like that dance kind of dip.
The dip, yeah.
And she's like, ew, and gets away. And then Bulk's like, he sprays Banaka in his mouth. He's like, maybe. He looks at Trini. He says, let's make it a double date. And then Billy,
yes,
which is Trini Watch.
Trilly Watch. Always watching.
Are you not going to do your news thing? There you go. Billy steps up and is like, Kimberly and Trini don't date thugs.
Oh, man.
Which also maybe from experience, because when he was a geek, Trini hadn't seen him until the next day at school. Not when he was a geek. Did I say geek? When he was a jerk.
A punk. Yeah. When he was a junior biker.
Yeah. And then earlier in the episode, when they are at the school, and Kimberly and Trini...
Yeah. She's like...
Or Kimberly and Billy. Trini and Billy are like... I don't know why I get their names mixed up, because they're very different people.
They're very different.
But they come over, and Trini's like, Kimberly?
Billy? Like...
Like my Billy? Anyway...
That's all the Trilly Watch.
That's Trilly Watch for today. There's not a lot in this one.
No.
Probably because the next one is going to stab a fork into my heart.
Yep. Then Billy like steps up to him, when she's like, they don't date thugs. And Jason's like, oh, why don't you show us what you got or whatever. And then he challenged him to volleyball. I forget the specifics of it.
In the juice bar.
In the juice bar. And
in the youth center.
And I'm all right, I'm going to level with you right now. I was too busy thinking about what Kimberly was wearing, so I don't really remember what happens until they trip over a tire that's keeping the volleyball net up.
They don't trip over the tire.
Did they just pull it down with
They
them?
just fall into the net because
They end up wrapped
Bulk
up in
serves it by just throwing the ball up and haphazardly slapping it with the same hand.
Right.
And then I think Jason...
Poor form.
I think Jason returns it. Somebody returns it. And it just bounces off Skull's head. And then Bulk goes to get it and then ends up spinning around in a circle because that's what he does when his head gets in front of his body. And then they fall into the net. And they say something, and Bulk says something, and then Skull repeats it.
And they're trapped in the net, and then we go off the air.
And then that's it.
So that's the end of the episode. I don't know why I'm looking at my notes still. I got no more.
Game over, man.
Game over, man. Game over. So, final thoughts on Power Ranger Punks. What are yours?
It's pretty good.
Yeah. I love when people, like, when they have shows about, like, punks or, like, someone gets turned into something they're not, like, personality-wise.
Right, yeah.
Because, number one, you get to see how, like, the actors can, like, portray... Like, Billy's shift between... like, when they drink the potions and they're, like, immediate change back.
Yeah.
Like, that's good acting. When they're, like... Because Kimberly's... Her first thing is, like, oh, my God, who did these nails? What am I wearing? Oh, my God. Like she's about to hyperventilate.
Because in the cage, she's like, look at that cool toad. And then out of the cage, she's like, ew, a frog, Wartsville.
And Billy, like, his whole, like voice, like, it kind of registers higher.
Yeah.
When he's a punk. Because he's a little more soft-spoken when he's Billy.
Right.
When he's Will the punk.
Can't say Willie, because that was a train
another
conductor.
Dumb conductor character. I hate that kid. But he, like... Yeah, when, you know, he's like, yeah, it's, you know, it's all up there. And he's like, guys, what's going on? What happened? Is, you know, is Jason gonna get eaten? No. Like, Trudy's already been eaten. We gotta get down there now. So, like, I really like that. These are my favorite kind of episodes. Are like, now they're a different person, because I don't want to say obsessed, but I'm basically obsessed with, like, alternate universe versions of characters that we are familiar with. Anytime a character is different in some way, in like a drastic way.
Yeah.
Drastic. That's the real word that I was trying to say. In a dramatic way. It's dramatic and drastic put together. My science teacher used to say dramatic. Don't worry about it.
That's terrible.
He's awesome.
We'd probably get along.
You would. But yeah, like, I love those kinds of things. And so, like switching places is my favorite episode, because it's like, hey, now you got to deal with someone else's problems.
Right,
like,
yeah.
And, you know, things like
But you're still you. Everyone else just thinks you're them.
Right.
So,
Also, they have to deal with your problems. It's going to be terrible. I love those things. Their portrayal of punks, though, is
not great.
A little left of center. It's they're definitely bikers more than punks. But I mean, you know, it's the 90s. It's a kids show. They were cramped for time. They were probably like, "That's punk, right? Yeah,
Punk enough.
put a spike choker on her, whatever." Punk.
It'll kill Jake later. It's fine.
Oh man. This is a good episode for Kimberly. You guys. All right, so I guess we'll just tell you where you can find us on the internet, in case you forgot from 40 minutes ago.
Not even. By the time you record this, it would have only been like
Time we edit.
35 minutes ago.
We're already recording.
You know what I meant.
I do. That's why I said it out loud, to embarrass you. So,
Mission accomplished.
Secret Hidden Crocodile, mission accomplished. Patent pending. So, we're on Tumblr, morphingrid.tumblr.com. You can email us, littleidiots.morphingrid@gmail.com, or you can talk to us on Twitter @morphingrid. That's it. That's all I have for the episode.
Yeah, we've pretty much wrung it dry.
Yeah, join us next time for... I don't remember what the episode's called.
Peace,
Love, and Woe.
One of my favorite episodes, because Madame Woe is one of my favorite villains.
She's really good. We're gonna have some stuff to talk about
it's
that.
a Billy highlight episode.
It is. That's either going to be super light on Trilly Watch or crazy heavy on Trilly Watch.
Trilly Watch, the
podcast. All right, so until next time, may the power protect you. Whenever you're ready.
I'm never ready. I have to just say it and then.
Well, whenever.
Sometimes.
Right now. Go.